Candy Barr, Natal-to-Navamsha analysis with Mars as Atmakaraka. Ascendant, Taurus to Virgo. Candy Barr's life path transitioned from the steady sensual energy of Taurus to the disciplined, detail-oriented influence of Virgo in Navamsha. In her natal chart, Taurus indicated a focus on material stability, comfort, and a love for beauty and sensual pleasures. As she moved into Virgo in Navamsha, her life took on a more practical and service-oriented focus. This shift highlights a transition from seeking material satisfaction to focusing on precision, responsibility, and self-improvement. Her challenge was to balance her early desire for material pleasures and comfort with the need for discipline, routine, and service as her life evolved. Gemini, second house, to Aries, 8th house. The Sun in Gemini in the second house in Candy Barr's natal chart indicated that her identity was tied to her communication skills, intellect, and resourcefulness, particularly in matters related to finances and self-worth. She likely had a sharp mind and used her intellect to gain material success. In Navamsha, the Sun moved to Aries in the 8th house, where her focus shifted toward transformation, crisis management, and dealing with hidden or taboo matters. This suggests that later in life, her identity became more focused on navigating deep, transformative experiences. Her challenge was to integrate the intellectual and versatile nature of Gemini with the bold, action-oriented energy of Aries, especially when dealing with transformative or challenging situations. Moon, Leo, to Libra, second house. The moon in Leo, in the 4th house in her natal chart, reflected her strong emotional connection to home, family, and personal identity. Leo's influence gave her a need for recognition and emotional validation, especially within her private life. In Navamsha, the moon moved to Libra in the 2nd house, where her emotional security became tied to material resources, partnerships, and balance. Her emotional fulfillment shifted toward maintaining harmony in her relationships and finding balance in her values and finances. The challenge was to balance her early need for personal recognition and emotional expression with the later need for stability and balance in material and emotional matters. Saturn, Aquarius, to Pisces, 7th house. Saturn in Aquarius in the 10th house in her natal chart indicated a disciplined, structured approach to her career and public life, with a focus on independence and innovation. She may have taken an unconventional path to success, embracing freedom and originality in her work. In Navamsha, Saturn moved to Pisces in the 7th house, where the focus shifted to partnerships, relationships, and emotional maturity. This placement suggests that later in life, she may have experienced karmic lessons related to compassion, sacrifice, and emotional connection in her relationships. Her challenge was to balance her desire for independence in her career with the need for emotional depth and maturity in her personal connections. Jupiter, Libra, 6th house, to Aries, 8th house. Jupiter in Libra in the 6th house in her natal chart showed that Candy Barr's growth and expansion were tied to relationships, harmony, and balance in her daily work and routines. She likely thrived in environments where fairness and cooperation were valued. In Navamsha, Jupiter moved to Aries in the 8th house, where her growth became more focused on transformation, shared resources, and navigating crises. Her challenge was to balance the diplomatic, relationship-oriented nature of Libra with the bold, independent energy of Aries, especially when dealing with transformative or shared experiences. Mars, Virgo, 5th house to Leo, 12th house. As Candy Barr's Atmakaraka, Mars played a central role in defining her soul's journey. In Virgo, in the 5th house in her natal chart, Mars reflected a strong drive toward creativity, intellectual pursuits, and precision in her expression. She may have been motivated by a desire for perfection in her creative or romantic endeavors. In Navamsha, Mars moved to Leo in the 12th house, where her soul's journey became more focused on spiritual growth, introspection, and surrender. Leo's influence in the 12th house suggests that her later years were marked by a deep search for personal truth, spiritual enlightenment, and the dissolution of ego. Her challenge was to balance the need for personal recognition and creativity with the spiritual journey of surrender and letting go of worldly attachments. Mercury, Gemini, 2nd house, to Libra, 2nd house. Mercury in Gemini in the second house in her natal chart indicated a sharp, intellectual approach to matters of wealth, communication and self-worth. She likely used her wit and communication skills to secure material resources and express her values. In Navamsha, Mercury moved to Libra in the second house, where her intellectual focus became more relationship-oriented, with an emphasis on fairness, balance and harmony in matters related to finances and self-worth. Her challenge was to balance the versatile, communicative energy of Gemini with the harmonious, partnership-focused energy of Libra. Venus, Leo, 4th house, to Taurus, 9th house. Venus in Leo in the 4th house in her natal chart reflected a love for beauty, luxury, and personal recognition, particularly within her home and private life. She likely found comfort and emotional fulfillment in creating a beautiful, luxurious home environment. In Navamsha, Venus moved to Taurus in the 9th house, where her values shifted towards spiritual exploration, higher learning, and the pursuit of beauty and harmony in more philosophical or religious contexts. The challenge was to balance her early focus on personal recognition and luxury with a later focus on spiritual growth and higher values. Rahu, Sagittarius 8th house to Sagittarius 4th house. Rahu in Sagittarius in the 8th house in her natal chart indicated a desire to explore foreign, philosophical, or taboo subjects related to transformation, crisis, or shared resources. She may have been drawn to experiences that expanded her understanding of life and death. In Navamsha, Rahu moved to Sagittarius in the 4th house, where her focus shifted to exploring philosophical or foreign influences within the realm of her home and family life. Her challenge was to integrate the expansive, adventurous energy of Sagittarius with the emotional security and stability of the 4th house. Ketu, Gemini, 2nd house to Gemini, 2nd house. Ketu in Gemini in the 2nd house in both her natal and Navamsha charts suggested a detachment from material possessions, wealth or traditional values related to security. She may have been disinterested in conventional means of accumulating wealth or expressing her values. Her challenge was to balance her intellectual curiosity and communication skills with her detachment from material concerns, ensuring that she did not neglect her need for stability and security. Mars as Atmakaraka. With Mars as Atmakaraka, Candy Barr's life was driven by a strong desire for action, assertiveness, and personal expression. Mars's influence indicated a soul journey focused on courage, independence, and the pursuit of desires. In the natal chart, Mars in Virgo in the 5th house highlighted her perfectionism, creativity, and intellectual pursuits, driving her to refine her skills and assert her will in her personal and creative endeavors. As Mars moved to Leo in the 12th house in Navamsha, her soul's journey shifted toward a more introspective, spiritual path, where she sought to overcome ego and surrender to higher truths. The challenge for Candy Barr was to balance the assertive, action-oriented energy of Mars with the spiritual, surrendering nature of the 12th house, ultimately learning to channel her courage and independence towards spiritual growth and enlightenment.